Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Meanahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey people, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Hunting Sasquatch and is from Spyglass Industries. If you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I will encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. You will find a link up in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page. You can find out more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you will consider backing the project. Now, Hunting Sasquatch is a competitive game where you are trying to find that elusive of all cryptids, I think they're called, and other types of cryptids as well as you go out throughout the game. Now, you're doing this by taking control of hunters who are specifically trains, I guess, to go and find these creatures, and you have to go through different locations hunting them down using your skills and hoping that you don't get killed in the process, because that happens when you're chasing giant monsters. Now let me go ahead and give you a brief look at how the game is played with a prototype version of the game. So what you see here in this preview may change in the final version, just keep that in mind. Then we're going to come back, we'll discuss it further. Hunting Sasquatch is a competitive game for 2 to 5 players. The goal of the game is to have the most points at the end. You gain points by successfully completing and claiming locations, each of which is worth a different amount of points, and by gathering unique pieces of Sasquatch evidence, each worth 2 points. The game ends when a certain number of hunters are in the discard pile, from 6 to 12 depending on the number of players. To set up the game, shuffle the large location cards and the hunter cards and place them in the play area. Separate all of the different tokens into their own piles. Then, deal 1 hunter card out to each player. Turns take place in clockwise order from the randomly selected first player. The first thing you must do on your turn is declare a location to explore. At the beginning of the game, you must draw a location from the deck and place it face up, and then you must explore it since there are no other locations available. If that location goes unclaimed, the next player may either explore the already revealed location or flip a new one off the top of the deck and place it to the side of the other location. There may only be 2 to 5 face-up locations at a time in a row, depending on the number of players. If you don't want one of the face-up locations after there are that many out there, you can still draw a new one, but it must be placed on top of an existing location so that the stacks are as even as possible. A location that has been covered up can be explored later if the locations on top of it have been claimed. The very first thing you must check when you choose to explore a location is the color of the doomed hunter icon at the bottom of the location. If that color matches the color on the bottom of your hunter immediately dies. Discard it and forgo the rest of your turn. Assuming that does not happen, you roll the hunter dice. You can roll as many of these as you want, but if you don't roll them all, you can't choose to roll the rest of them later for any reason. What you're trying to do is get the symbols on the dice to match the symbols on the victory section of the location, and avoid matching the death symbols. After rolling the dice, you must first resolve anti-tokens. Each anti-token you got stuck with on a previous turn will cancel out one of the hunter dice you just rolled, which has the same symbol. You may then use your hunter ability if applicable. These can help you manipulate the dice, take helpful tokens, or survive death at the location. Lastly, before resolution, you can spend any wildcard tokens you have. Each token spent can flip 1 die to the face that you want. Now, place the dice on the location. You have to fill up the death spots first. If all of them are filled, you die immediately and you needn't worry about placing the rest of the dice. If you survive, you can start filling in the victory spots. If you fill them all, you claim the location card and its rewards, which consists of victory points at the end of the game and an evidence token. Evidence tokens are worth 2 points each at the end of the game, but you may only possess 1 of each of the 6 tokens. If you survive but don't have enough matching dice to succeed at the location, you choose to either spend one of your horseshoe tokens, which lets you re-roll all unplaced dice, or roll the fate die and hope for a horseshoe symbol, which does the same thing. If you roll the trap symbol, or if you just decide to give up and not even roll, you'll have to take the trap penalties on the location, consisting of 1 or more anti-tokens and, very rarely, horseshoe and wildcard tokens. Succeed, fail, or die, the next player will then take their turn in the same way. Keep going until enough hunters are dead in the discard pile, and then count up your points. Whoever has the most is the winner. Hunting Sasquatch mixes a unique theme together with relatively simple gameplay that nevertheless has decision-making involved. It actually takes some elements of lighter games, like in Yahtzee-style games like King of Tokyo, but mixes it together with some resource management as well. Basically, you have to decide best how you're going to go through the different locations, knowing that, okay, I may have a few tokens that I can spend, like the wildcard tokens, and sometimes you can even plan it out with your anti-tokens. If you see a location out there that you have anti-tokens for the death symbols on that location. So that's great because that can cancel out to the death symbols that you accidentally roll. So that is a lot of the planning that you have to do in the game, as well as going for the locations that have evidence tokens you don't have yet, because you can't double up on them. So where every point matters in the game, it can be a very tight game. You're going to want to try to make sure that you get as many of the evidence tokens as you possibly can, knowing you can only have one of each. You have to very carefully conserve those powerful horseshoe and wildcard tokens that you have, because they are so rare, so hard to get. And you have to make very careful use of your hunter's ability. Sometimes you may have a hunter's ability you're not really happy with, in which case dying isn't the worst thing in the world, because then you'll just get another hunter. But knowing that as the hunters die and go into the discard pile, the end of the game creeps ever closer, and then you might need to expedite things if you know that you're not doing well and you're not winning. So there's a lot of different things that you have to keep track of in the game, but nevertheless, the game is very fast to play. It's very easy to learn, very easy to teach. It's a good game for casual gamers, but also experienced gamers can easily play it as a lighter, almost filler game. It might take a little bit longer than a filler. And when you mix this together with the fun theme that you don't really see, I can't think of many games that have this theme, it definitely stands out in a crowd. So if you fall into any of those categories, if you think this is a game that interests you or the people that you game with, definitely don't just take my word for it. Go to the official Kickstarter project page. There will be a link in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page, find out more information, and hopefully consider backing the project. That is Hunting Sasquatch from Spyglass Industries. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting our sponsors. Take care. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.